Lady Justice Fatuma Sichale, Judge of the Court of Appeal based in Nakuru.
My name is Nerima Wako-Executive the Director of Siasa, please.
Daniel Orogo. I am representing Democracy Moves as the African Regional Coordinator.
I think it is for the young people to claim the space. We've just heard this morning that Tomboya became a leader. The late Tomboya became a leader in the trade union movement at a very early age. We've also heard that the late President Kibaki was a minister at the age of 30. And for sure, he did not just wake up one morning and decide that I'm going to run for a political seat. It's an investment that he must have made even during his youthful years. And so as youth, you claim the space, you go for what you believe in, and you run with that space. Because in whatever we do in life, and for us to be able to succeed, we must be passionate about it. Yeah? If you're passionate in the area of governance, you run with that aspect. If you're passionate, for instance, in the world of feminism, again, you run with that. And for sure, persistency at the end of it all pays, and you end up being so good in whatever you believe in or whatever you want to undertake. Now, when you talk about the judiciary, actually, it's interesting because in terms of the numbers, we find that the women are even more than the men as we speak. As you very well know, the Chief Justice of the country is a woman. The Deputy Chief Justice is a woman. The Chief Registrar of the Judiciary is a woman. And even when you do the total tallies, the numbers of the women is actually slightly higher than that of the men. So in terms of achieving equality, even in those high positions, I think the judiciary has been able to do it. But when all is said and done, it is really the hard work that you put in. Because even when we talk about affirmative action, wanting to affirm the woman, for instance, many a time you cannot sacrifice meritocracy at the expense of the affirmative action. So people should not just idle around and say that because of my gender, I expect certain favoritism. I think we must claim the space and work for that space, whether you are of the male gender or the female gender. I think you're right in saying we cannot ignore that social media is so impactful. I look at social media as an instrument that can actually influence change. And I think for you, the youth, you have that benefit of being able to communicate using social media. So it's a powerful tool in terms of bringing the necessary impact that is needed. Democracy is important, and many of you, because you are youthful, you may not know the struggles that Kenya went through to reach where we have reached, because there is a time when this country was actually a single-party state. The clamor for multipartyism began, and there were lots of sacrifices that were made. I vividly remember Reverend Joya, who at one time was clobbered just outside Parliament, and the way he was beaten so much because of the clamor for constitutionalism. It is really a miracle that today he is alive. So having attained the status or the stage where we are in now, I think it is important that we do not squander that democratic space. And for you, the youth, the leaders of today, I don't want to say the leaders of tomorrow, the onus is on you to ensure that we protect this democratic space. Because I've had a speaker say that there must be eternal vigilance. whereby we cannot afford even to wink our eyes lest we go back to yesteryears. So really, the responsibility is yours. Open your eyes, look at what is happening around us, and let us ensure that the gains that we've made as a country in terms of the democratic processes.
Young people can play many roles. A lot of them think that the only role is to run for elective office. That's not true. Another thing that they can do is just discussing things that are happening in their country, in their communities. Watch the news and even participate in public participation. If they are not interested in that, another way that they can participate in is making sure that they're involved in the decisions in the community, knowing where their chief is, their ward administrator is, and just being involved in that governance process. When it comes to participation of young women, it's a bit different because we have different challenges. Even for me to be here, my son was unwell this morning, and so I had to leave him with my mother, and so I was late. So a lot of times with women, you find that there's the burden of the household, of children, na kuhustle. So sio rahisi kuhustle na kuattend hizi vitu, sio rahisi. So I would say being more flexible, especially when it comes to women. Sometimes the morning is difficult because you have to take care of their family and their children if they're going to school. So sometimes the afternoon, and sometimes it has to be a short period of time. They don't have the luxury of time because they even have to go clean the house, wash their clothes, or even cook dinner. So understanding that their programs are different. How we can is meeting young people where they are. Sometimes when we have these engagements, we like to invite them to institutions or universities or churches, which is also great. How can we partner with the churches to share this information on Sunday, or with the mosques on Friday, or during a football tournament? Let's go where young people are and share this information with them while they do what they love to do. Technology has really helped our work a lot because we get information in real time. I'm able to know what's happening in Kericho right now with my team, and I'm able to support them if there's an issue or if we're advocating for something with a hashtag. I think that a lot of young people use social media for entertainment, which is fine, but they can also use it to gather information and to also support one another in the grassroots. I think that's what I would encourage young people to do with technology.
Democracy is a form of government or a form of governance where citizens have a right for expression, where citizens have a right for inclusion, where citizens have a right to petition. In essence, it is a government, it's a form of governance where the people reign supreme. And it's a form where citizens own the governance of their country and take matters of ruling and matters into their own hands and petition the elected leaders to come through with agenda for proper and meaningful service delivery. I think young people can play a role in this democracy by assuring that one, there is no limit age to run for political position, that the age of running must be reduced and it must be commensurate to the number of voting. In a sense, I'm saying that young people has a right to run just as the way they have a right to vote. The another role is also to make sure that the voices, the vital voices of young people are heard in the communities, are heard in the nation, and are heard in the governance processes. There are myths that have been, perpetuated, that discourages young women and special interest groups from running for position. One, like I've said, is that politics is for men. No, it is not for men. For us to deal with those myths And secondly, another barrier that we have is money and election. And then another barrier also we have is the unconducive terrain. Like I've said, to educate young people that politics is a process of getting into leadership. It's not a process of mudding yourself with mud and corruption. Is that also to tell them that politics is to serve and be a leader. So get into the politics and leadership position. But I've said the most critical thing is to go out and to educate the citizens the importance of young people and women getting into elective positions and participating in any other position that is required.